So we've all been camping overnight here. I'm up at Furnacebrook Fisheries, and this is over in deepest, darkest Sussex. And I want to show you the venue because we're going to be doing some magic and mystery events up here in the very foreseeable future. So we're just going to introduce you to the team here. We've got Wilson, as you can see, who's his guard dog, and there's Reggie down there, and we have the lovely Laura in the distance. So what I'm going to do is finish my cup of tea here and then have a little tour around. So I'm going to show you around a little bit of the site here, and this is an absolutely enormous place. It used to be an iron ore quarry, so as a result of the quarrying there's lots of lakes. This is, I'm just being met by Gracie. Hang on, say hello to Gracie. So Gracie is now going to escort me up to the wildlife camera. Now, what I was saying before, this used to be an iron ore quarry, so there's lots of hatcheries and fisheries and lakes, and we've got all sorts of... We have lots of friends on site to keep us company, and Grace is coming with me. Now, because we get a lot of deer and wildlife, what I've done is I've put a wildlife camera that's motion sensor up here in the woodlands. So my first task is to go and get that, and let's have a little look at what we've got on the camera overnight. I've left it right by a badger set. The badger set is enormous, it's like a hill. I'll show you in a second. So I'm hoping we'll have some footage of badgers. Right, so this hill up here, this is the badger set. And in a moment you're going to see where they've done all the excavations. So I think that's the most current hole, because you can see the recent excavations going on down there. And so I put some cat food down the bottom with the camera. So let's see what we've got. Now, one of the great things about this environment here, we've got the fisheries, which is way over the other end. All this is private property, and it's backed by enormous empty fields, farmland there, empty fields over there, empty fields over there. So if we do various outdoor activities of sort of meditational, esoteric type nature, no nudity, I know what you're thinking, but for those activities, one of the biggest problems is, where can you do these sort of things without your dog walker walking in, or your people on a ramble, that kind of stuff. So this is the ideal location. This is one of the sites, but I'll show you the others in a minute. But first, let's see what's on the camera. Now, a lot of this place is actually still being constructed, so it's going to be finished this year. What we have here behind us is one of the lodges, so this is an accommodation block. So let me just quickly show you what this will be. So this is that kind of little accommodation, the room with a view, because you have the balcony over the lake here. And that will be the bedroom. So you have literally a bed with a view as well. And it's got the kitchen, shower and lounge and all the rest. So that's one of the accommodation blocks. There's camping on site as well, and they've got a lot of, what are they called, parachutes. So it's sort of communal camping under a parachute canopy, which is all pretty nice. I'm going to show you that shortly. So now this is this is around the back of that particular lodge there, and then we've got the public facilities, so it's public. Kitchen, there's a microwave there, and toilet as well. Now we come through the archway. So as you can see, the lake area, this is the main fishing area, is absolutely huge. And we're going to walk probably just over half a mile along to where it's sort of no entry to the general public. And this is where we're going to be running events. Now, what we've got planned is multifarious. So we're going to do a number of retreats. One of them will be on health. We're combining the Magick, Mind, Myth, Magic with herbalism and all the meditation stuff as well. So it's going to be a combination of immersive training. So basically you're going to be preparing your own herbs. As you can see, there's lots of plants around. Medicinal plants are planted here as well. And so you'll be picking your own, preparing them, and then consuming as needed or just doing it for interest. Right, wasn't Right, so now we're in the sort of the private area, so no one else can come here. So what we've got here is the total privacy to be able to do all these outdoor things. We're also going to be doing some Magick events, and that's also going to be immersive. It's part instruction, but also a lot of actually doing. And the idea is it'll be a 3-day retreat. We're going to do it at different levels. So it's immersive. So the whole thing, you don't attend a course during the day and then hang out doing stuff in the evening. We're going to be doing it's 24/7, no, 24/3, 3-day retreat. This is if you're an armchair expert, but you never have the opportunity to be able to practice because you don't have the opportunity, the venue, or the people. So we'll be putting people together from various magical societies. Each will be giving a session of practice, but also punctuated throughout the day according to the solar cycle, so where the sun is and the horizon and so forth. Then there'll be activities dedicated to that particular point of time of day. The idea is we're combining scientific herbalism, so we have a scientist. We're combining that with its actual medical research with old style alchemical magical symbolism and the archetypes to maximize both placebo effect by utilizing the archetypes, but also using the scientific basis for a lot of these plants. As you know, the stuff you buy in those health food shops, most of them are actually expensive placebos. Not because the plant itself isn't medicinal, it's just the dosing they give you and the quality of the material that's in the herbs. As you can see, Wilson loves it here. It's just not very good. So this is one of the areas, this is sort of a breakout area. What we have here, this is actually a parachute. And if we can go in, this will be a workshop area. At the moment, as you can see, everything is still in development. Now we come through here, and we have another one of the accommodation. Now if you ever wanted to literally camp out in the woods in a little cabin, here is your little cabin in the woods. I'm sure this is probably the basis of the plot of a horror movie. But here you're going to have deer, badgers, foxes, and all the other sort of bird life and animal life that lives around here. So obviously that's a two sleeper. Now if we come up here, this is our stage. This is one of the event areas. Doesn't look much at the moment because it's not been cleared, but just to give you an idea, this gives us the total privacy, because all we have over there are sheep, all we have there are dense private owned woodlands. Back here is another sheep field, and of course then that's the property of the lakes and fisheries. Now up here, this is almost finished. We have the eco bathroom. The eco bathroom involves old style dummy. Ta-da! Don't dwell looking down the hole because it's one of those compost loos. Yeah, you get the idea. And then we have, that's a urinal, believe it or not. So we have eco toilet area. And hang on, let me show you around the back. And then we're going to have, there'll be more accommodation of the cabin style accommodation up this end as well, so more people can stay. Now we have a little presentation stage. This will be the shower block. Now we have one of my favourite little buildings, So if you have if you're interested in infrasound and the old buildings where sound was used both in ceremony and ritual, voila, we have just such the place. So this is a fairly new build, and this can double up. This can double up as both sweat lodge, but also ceremonial and utilising infrasound. And we'll be doing something around sound. You may be well familiar with like sound healing, gongs, and that kind of stuff. Nothing wrong with that. However, it's a little bit watered down from the original ceremonial stuff that was used. What we're trying to do is restore stuff back to its original archetypes. So we can then see, okay, so that's what the original thing looks like. Now we have a greater understanding of the derivatives, like your gongs and your tuning forks, that kind of stuff. And why do people do that? Oh yeah, there's something I meant to show you actually. Wilson's harassing me, he wants me to throw the ball. He's like, throw it, throw it. You'll have to wait a minute. Now, you probably won't be able to see this on the camera. But there, out in the middle of the lake, that's an island. And it's got a lot of wildlife on it. So it's quite a big island too, actually. It's a huge lake. That will also have a cabin on it. And it will be available for essentially accommodation. So if you fancy staying on an island, then that is entirely possible as well. So there's lots of accommodation places dotted around. We've got the camp area just coming up. So what we have here is the outdoor kitchen. So this is the fire pit, and there's barbecue things and cooking things all around. This is where we utterly failed to get the fire started last night. It's one of those classic things, you light it, then you have to wait like 10 hours for the coals to get hot enough. And by then we thought, okay, microwave time. But just here is where there'll be a bigger parachute, which will form a complete canopy down to the ground. And that will be like a communal teepee type accommodation area. And so I think that's all we've got. Now I'm going to have to throw the ball for the beast here. Otherwise he's going to go nuts at me. And so I will next, once I've entertained Wilson for a bit, I'm going to show you the barn and some of the strange things we're going to find in the barn. Right, so next up, let me show you the barn. Now this is quite a big thing. This doubles up as a museum, but also as a training room. At the moment, everything has been being sorted out from the storage further up. So there's a lot of stuff in here, but it's quite a big space. Let me show you. Right, Wilson, come on. Come on. Come on. So a lot of this stuff is authentic vintage. Diane, who collected most of this, one of the tube stations, abandoned tube stations, they were clearing a lot of the posters and bits and pieces down there. That was all left over from the Second World War, because a lot of the tubes were used as, or the stations were used as bomb shelters. So there's a lot of this stuff is genuine. A lot of this stuff is genuine and authentic. So now we have what he's doing. Now here's a weird thing, and for those of you who used to work with me at Southampton General Hospital, you recognise her. That's so strange. When I walked in I said to Di, I used to work with her. She hasn't aged a bit. Right, so we've got all sorts of again, this is all genuine World War II stuff, and these things are quite remarkably heavy. The steel helmet. My head's far too big to wear that. Let's see what else we've got. I don't know what's happened here. Say no more. Now we've got classic. Look at this. This actually works as well. I shan't try and turn it on. It'll probably never work again if I fiddle with it. What else can I show you? That's probably it really. So as a training room, this is again perfect. So it wouldn't have all this stuff in here. So it's quite a big room. We've got a kitchen adjoining. We've got breakout areas beyond. Let me just have a quick look. Because you see, behind here, we have a whole new domain. As we've gone through, this is actually a brewery. I'm going to show you the brewery in a second. And then we've got the garage space, which will also be. Forget that. Right, we're not going to use that. Right, Wilson, come. Now, there's something I haven't mentioned yet. Diane, who is part owner of this, she is the Pearly Queen of St Pancras. I think it's St Pancras. I'll be corrected if I'm wrong. So you've probably, those outside of the UK, and actually even the younger generation in the UK outside of London, won't be familiar with the Pearly Queen traditions. One of the characteristics of Pearly Kings and Queens, it's a family, it's an inherited family thing, is the pearly suits. So it's the suits that are festooned with buttons and glittering things and badges of every description. So Diane is a bit of a celeb in the East End of London social circuit, and knows a lot of the bands and basically the bands that have come out of the East End of London. I shan't be name dropping. I'm going to leave that to Di to do at another time. So now the other thing, if I can get in there, we have, oh, hang on, can I get in? I can. We have a microbrewery. Now, as you know, I don't drink, at least not anymore. Where's the light switch? Can't find the light switch. There's got to be a light switch somewhere. Just bear with me while Andy finds the light switch. Can't find the light switch. However, so what we have is the, these are like mega expensive German brewery things. I don't really understand how they work. I was a demi-john and bucket man. Just chuck it all in, ferment it. Don't bother waiting it to settle, just drink it. There are also going to be courses on production of various things. Brewing, of course, is a semi-alchemical process. So we'll be doing alchemical stuff, and actually the production of various alchemical medicinal agents too. So that's all part of the mix. There will be brewing courses too. I'm not going to be involved in that. That's not one for me. Mostly because I just chuck it in a bucket, or chucked it in a bucket. It's not one I'm going to be teaching because I don't know anything about it. So I think that's all. I'm just going to give you a quick look around of some of the iconography that's in the building at the moment. And then, of course, we have Old Winston looking very forlorn and a rather phallic-looking cigar. So that's it for now. That's all I'm going to show you. So if you are interested in the kind of stuff that we've got going on, if you want to be an instructor for the Mind, Myth and Magic events, if you're interested in being part of the team for the retreats and want to come along and join us, then please sign up for the mailing list. This mailing list is different. I'm only going to use it for this specific, easy to say, this specific purpose. I won't be, so if you're on my other mailing lists, you won't hear about this unless you sign up to this particular list. And the list will only be used to advertise and let you know what we're doing here. Now we're going to be starting this next year. Most of the site is going to be finished this summer, but of course lockdown, COVID and all the rest of it, so we're going to wait until next summer before we actually announce the dates and go ahead and run these events. Sign up for the mailing list, click the like button for me. It really helps with the YouTube channel. And I hope to see you over in deepest, darkest or sunniest, depending on the weather, Sussex, for Mind, Myth and Magic.